कितने तेजस्वी लोग हैं हमारे पास, कितने शानदार विचार रखते हैं जी, और कुछ लोग मनोरंजन भी करवाते हैं। प्लीज ये अच्छा नहीं, ये अच्छा नहीं। ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं संघ के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों का श्रद्धापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतःकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा।
In the world's largest democracy, Narendra Modi took office as the Prime Minister of India in 2014 with a promise of Achhe Din and an ambitious vision of transformation and progress. As we reflect on his 9-year tenure, it is essential to examine the impact of his policies and decisions. Here are some of the highs and lows of Modi's reign.
मुसलमान को देश के अंदर रहना नहीं चाहिए। उन्होंने जनसंख्या के आधार पर देश का बंटवारा कर लिया, उनको अलग भूभाग दे दिया गया। बांग्लादेश या पाकिस्तान जाए, यहाँ क्या काम है?
विश्व हिंदू परिषद के अधिकारी गणों से ये निवेदन करना चाहता हूँ कि हर वो नौजवान को AK-47 की शिक्षा भी देने की आवश्यकता है।
Now it is no secret that the BJP and Modi want a Hindu Rashtra. While their manifesto highlighted good governance and a corruption-free government, the party's campaign mantra was religion and patriotism, benefiting from the common man's sentiments.
वो कोई बप्पा की मूषक के साथ वाली?
हाँ है ना आगे मूषक। आप जानते हैं मूषक बापा का वाहन बनने से पहले एक असुर था।
ये वाली?
फाइनल कर दे?
नहीं अभय मुद्रा वाली।
On the face of it, there are no fights between the Hindu and Muslim communities, but villages with Muslim names will be renamed. And to top it off, the government relies on voodoo economists and religious chiefs. Very few leaders are educated, skilled, or have anything of significance to contribute to the country. So much for secularism.
No, this is not necessary.
While India claims to be the largest democracy in the world, democracy itself seems to be a nuisance for the BJP. Parliament is supposed to be a temple for democracy, but the last 9 years barely saw any discussion on major issues.
ये सुरेश जी क्यों हंस रहे हैं जी?
Bills and acts are passed irrespective of their consequences on the common man. Laws are made to benefit a select few in the country, and the loud voices of farmers, workers, and everybody suffering are just suppressed. We have freedom of expression, freedom of press, and freedom of life, but nobody is really free. So much for democracy.
रात्रि को 12 बजे से वर्तमान में जारी 500 रुपए और 1000 रुपए के करेंसी नोट लीगल टेंडर नहीं रहेंगे।
Demonetization was a bold move. It aimed to combat black money and corruption, but it caused disruptions in the economy and affected small businesses. The speedy pursuit of a cashless society shook the nation like an earthquake. There's no clarity yet on how it helped anybody, and now the new 2000 rupee notes are being withdrawn. If anything, demonetization had a negative impact on the economy, including a slowdown in growth, job losses, and rise in inflation. But the rich have only gotten richer, their businesses ran as usual, and corruption continued to play hide and seek. So much for fighting corruption.
कि आने वाले 5 वर्षों में हम अपनी इकोनॉमी के साइज को $5 trillion।
Modi stormed India's political stage with promises of more jobs, prosperity, and less red tape. However, his economic record has proven lackluster. The GDP growth target of a $5 trillion economy by 2025 remains elusive. The pandemic only hampered the economy's performance some more. In fact, India's economy shrank by 7.3% in 2020, the worst contraction in its history. Safe to say the $5 trillion target is most likely to remain a mere daydream at this point. So much for Achhe Din.
जब नौकरी मिलेगी तो क्या होगा? जिस्म पे सूट होगा, पाँव में बूट होगा, जिस्म पे सूट।
लोग कहते थे कि यूपी युवाओं का राज्य है, आंदोलनकारियों का राज्य है, लेकिन आज हकीकत ये हो गई कि उत्तर प्रदेश भारत का सबसे बड़ा बेरोजगार युवाओं का राज्य बन चुका है।
One of India's biggest challenges has been a slowdown in investments and the impact of a global recession, leading to a rise in unemployment. Under Modi's tenure, joblessness skyrocketed faster than a rocket launch. At 7.8%, unemployment rate hit a 45-year high in February 2023. The economy failed in generating the number of required jobs. The Make in India initiative was aimed at boosting manufacturing, but its job creation fell short of expectations and Indian youth ended up making memes instead. So much for jobs and prosperity.
जीएसटी एक अच्छा आइडिया है, मगर सरकार ने उसके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन को बिल्कुल गलत तरीके से किया और इसके कारण जीडीपी को इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ को जबरदस्त नुकसान हुआ है।
GST was introduced to simplify India's tax structure. However, its hasty rollout led to disruptions and challenges for businesses. It was supposed to streamline the tax system, but there were many difficulties in implementation.
नो डाउट हमारे देश में लोग तंग आए हुए हैं जीएसटी से।
जो स्मॉल एंड मीडियम बिजनेसेस हैं वो इस टैक्स को भर ही नहीं सकते।
GST has been plagued by problems since its inception, including teething troubles, glitches in the IT system, and disputes between states. So much for simple finance.
सर ले अरे ये जो सारी इधर कीजिए, पैर उधर कीजिए सर।
The COVID-19 pandemic posed unprecedented challenges for India. While the government did their best and implemented measures to contain the virus, concerns were raised on the management of migrant crisis and the impact on vulnerable populations. The pandemic highlighted a need for a robust healthcare infrastructure and effective social safety net. India recorded one of the highest number of cases and deaths in the world.
And even election rallies organized by the Prime Minister were allowed to go ahead. They became super spreader events.
मैंने ऐसी सभा पहली बार देखी है।
So much for effective leadership amid a crisis. Infrastructure development has been a bright spot during Modi's tenure. It's a sector his government always took pride in. Highways were built at an unprecedented pace, but people lose their lives to potholes almost every day. While renewable energy sector saw significant growth, there are lingering concerns about fiscal deficit since government spending is not matching its income. India's fiscal deficit is projected to reach a 6.9% of GDP in 2023 to 2024, the highest in 40 years. So much for fiscal discipline.
As the great religious teacher Swami Vivekananda once said,
it was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
My friend, President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump.
Modi's globe-trotting adventures have definitely strengthened India's position in the world. Bilateral engagements like the Neighborhood First policy, hugs and handshakes with global leaders, and hosting extravagant events fostered stronger relationships with neighboring countries and enhanced regional cooperation.
Every politician there last night was jealous of the fact that he was able to get 20,000 people chanting his surname in unison on the other side of the world.
But these policies did little for the nation as much as they promoted Modi's cult of personality. So much for better India. All in all, the 9-year tenure of PM Modi is not as colourful and successful as portrayed. Don't get us wrong, it's not all doom and gloom. There have been positive initiatives and achievements as well, but it's important to take off our rose-tinted glasses and call out reality for what it is.